Our countdown to tip-off continues. Today's stop is Magnolia, and we get to visit with the head women's basketball coach of Southern Arkansas, Coach Adam Collins, in his 4th season with the program. Coach, I know last season it is what it is, or was what it was, and I'm glad it's in the rearview mirror now. You all went 4-10, had the opportunity for at least 20 games on the schedule, but I know you weren't able to get all of those done. Take us from there to where we are right now, heading into the preseason, and opening game is just right around the corner.
Yeah, I think we just kind of counted it as a push on the season. We have every single one of our players back, and last year was a tough year for all of them, for all of us. We did lose a lot of games, none of which were on our end. We did not have an issue during the year, but multiple times we found out the night before the game that we weren't going to be able to play the game. And sometimes we found out the night before a Thursday game that we weren't going to be able to play Thursday, Saturday as well. And, I think, some of that obviously with our schedule last year, we only had 5 teams on the schedule, and we were playing the same teams. And so if one of those teams went out or 2 of those teams went out, then it was hard to play games for a while, to get some games in. So I think no matter what, even though we were able to keep practicing and keep being able to work on things and do things, it's still just the frustration. And sometimes it's almost harder to be there in practicing with no games to play than be the team that's off for a little bit, almost to keep that motivation and keep everybody excited to show up to the gym every day. And then you get close to a game and is it going to get canceled? Can we all go to sleep tonight without finding out that, a game's going to get canceled or something happened? And so that just kind of hit us hard last year. It felt like, again, 24 hours or less before multiple games, we kept getting that news. And then when you add in, we lost three of our 10 last year were lost in the final seconds, games that we played very well in, and back and forth. And somebody made one more shot than we did, or made one more free throw than we did. And so I think that, the 4-10 record doesn't look like it's that strong, but it was a lot better season, especially when you consider everything that my team had to go through.
I understand, Coach. You mentioned this, and so let's go right to that right now. You bring everybody back. On the surface, if you're looking at your website, it's almost like your sports information director, Jacob Pumphrey, just copied and pasted his roster from last season to this season. And yeah, he did. And you just have to look at it and go, is that right? Are all those players coming back? And Coach, wow, you get all of those players back. That is so nice.
Yeah, it was good. We knew we had a good chance to be pretty good last year. We thought, in a normal situation, coming off the momentum from the previous year, we thought so. And then I think with the way that everything went down, it was kind of a collective agreement that everybody wanted to go out a different way than that. And so we went from having 4 seniors last year who all got their year back for COVID to now, we have 8 seniors in a sense, and possibly even 10. But, again, some of those have already made decisions that they're going to use their extra year. And so I think a lot of teams, with everybody getting their extra year back, you don't really know where you're at sometimes, because you've got kids that were sophomores that still technically have 3 years of eligibility left. And when you get to that 3rd year, how many seniors do you really have? Do you have this many, that type of deal? And so, we went from having 4 seniors last year to, anywhere to 10 possibly this year, which we are expecting for everybody to return from that as well. So, it's a good group of young ladies that like playing together. And I think they were not overly thrilled about how things ended last year, and they wanted to come back together one more time and finish it out the right way.
Coach, take us through a little bit of your roster too, because one of the things, again, I wanted to bounce off something that you had mentioned, the season prior to last season, where you make a little run near the end of the season and you really get some momentum that you can take into the next year if you have it. And obviously that was kind of squelched because of the circumstances surrounding it. Can those players pull from even 2 years ago now? But they remember, I'm sure they remember what it was to do what they did. Take us through a couple of players on those roster that will lead you into this year.
Yeah, I think in general, to talk about all of them at first is to answer your question is yes, because this has been in 20 years of doing this. This has been, it's always hard to say the best, when you've done something as long as I've done it or you've done it or whatever. Like, it's always hard to say, well, this is the best game I've ever saw or the best game I've ever called or the best, work ethic of a team I've ever had. I think it's always hard to clarify the best, but this has been one of the best off seasons in terms of players going home in the summer and putting forth the time to be ready to roll and to make sure that their last shot at doing this together was going to be a good one. And so, yes, to build from that, because that's what we really lost. What we really lost was, as most people did, we had a ton of momentum after that second season here. And then everybody got sent home. So we had no postseason. And then the preseason was what it was. And then the season was what it was. And so, I think that was kind of what everybody was saying is we've got to go home this summer. And this postseason and this summer, and we've got to be ready to go from day one when we can start practice next year so that we can go after this the way we want to do that. And a lot of our players did a great job at doing that. And to name a few, you got Kesey Young, that's going to be a senior. She's going to have a great year. She has worked tremendously in the off season to finish this out. This is her senior year, official senior year. We assume nobody's getting another year back. So, this is it for her. And I think she has gone about her business this summer exactly how someone who's got 1 year left should. And she's kind of led everything, and has really upped her game and added some things to her game and just really became a leader of everyone else around. Diamond Morris is a person we're expecting to take a huge jump this year. Came out strong as a freshman. Last year made some strides, but I think, again, everything surrounding kind of held that back a little bit, and she jumped right on board with Kesey on, what I'm going to do this summer to make sure that my next season, that I finish my career here as the player that I wanted to be when I got here. And, I think those two ladies are definitely at the front. Lily Moore, and it's great because both Lily Moore and Kesey are both from Magnolia. So it's an opportunity for them to do that at home in front of their fans. They're both, this is their official senior year, both of them. And I know they're really excited about it. And Lily has had a great preseason to really take time. She transferred in here from a Division I school, transferred back home. And last year it took her a minute, I think, to get accustomed to things and back in the groove of basketball and how playing our style of play. And she's going to have a phenomenal year. And it just, like, the list continues to go, on and on. Ariana Gwynn was, this has been her best off season. She made all conference last year for the first time. And it really kind of got her excited about it. And this is her senior year. And she is like, this is it, coach. This is the last time I'm playing basketball. Last time we're doing like stuff like running the mile and things like that for conditioning. And Ariana's talking about, this is the last time I ever have to do, this is the last mile I'm ever going to run. This is the last mile that, this is the last time I'm ever doing anything like this. So, she's ready to, start her career when she's done. And she has done a tremendous job to build on, what she did last year. So I think those four, Ariana, Diamond, Kesey, and Lily, are kind of leading the charge on things as seniors. And then two other people, Jerica Bell and Kenzie Ezekiel, have had just unbelievable off seasons and have, like right now in the preseason, have turned themselves into two of our best players, after I think having some years here where they did some good things, but maybe didn't play up to the ability that they wanted to. And they've really put time in to say, yeah, this is technically both of their junior years, but they've taken huge step forwards to where they're going to make immediate impacts this year. And when all those players graduate, they'll be ready to take things over.
I understand. Speaking now with Coach Adam Collins from Southern Arkansas, the Mule Riders picked 10th according to the preseason coaches poll. Coach, when you bring everybody back like you are bringing everybody back, you would almost think, well, wow, I don't have to recruit any this offseason. But you did anyway. You got out and you were able to bring in some new faces. Tell us about one or two of those.
Yeah, we've got some, not many because we didn't have very many spaces to fill, but we did have some players that we wanted to recruit, and we've got 3 new players, one of which we think will make an immediate impact, and the other 2 definitely have an opportunity to. So we've got Michaela Lindsay as a Division I transfer from McNeese State. That we were able to sign. She started more than half the games at McNeese State last year and put up some decent numbers as a point guard for them. And she also had played 2 years of junior college ahead of time, where she had put up good numbers at a good junior college. She's out of Mississippi. She's from Vicksburg, Mississippi. And she is going to make an immediate impact in our system. She's a great 3-point shooter. She really does well flying around, getting steals, spotting up for threes. She can play the point guard or the 2. So, we can play her out there by herself. We can play Ariana by herself. We can play her and Ariana out there together, and try to be a little faster and more dynamic. And she can get it going from the 3-point line pretty good. And then the other 2, I think we've got a freshman, Lydia Holloway, that has a chance. She's a tremendously hard worker, has done wonders in the preseason in terms of just showing us how hard she wants to work and how good of a player she wants to be. And then Antonia Kovacevic is another transfer. She's something new for us. She's 6'3", almost 6'4", like it's a legitimate 6'3". And we haven't had anything like that here. And so we're kind of excited to see what that's going to look like at the back of the press. And when people do break the press, going in on 6'3", 6'4", and seeing if that can help us out a little bit. But definitely Michaela Lindsay will make an immediate impact, and the other 2 definitely have a chance to.
Yeah, Coach, I agree. From watching you from the booth, from a fan's perspective, I've seen a lot of quickness. I haven't seen a lot of height in recent years too. So that'll be something interesting to watch. Well, the season gets underway. GAC portion of the schedule in December gets underway as you all travel to Harding on December 2nd, and then you're home against Henderson State on December 4th. You have 5 games prior to that, a bunch of Division II competition, a lot of it on the road. You get to travel up to start the year in Jefferson City and take on Lincoln in your first game there too. So can you take us a little bit through the preseason and into the GAC schedule?
Sure. The Lincoln Upper Iowa deal, that's going to be a continuation of the tournament that's been going on. Actually got started before I got here. The previous coach put that into place, and it was a 4-year deal. And then we had a team drop out of it, and we picked up Upper Iowa, so we added an extra year, and then COVID added an extra year. So it's one of the world's longest running preseason conference tournaments. But we've got to go to Lincoln this year and play Lincoln, and then we'll finish it up the following year by everybody going to Upper Iowa, and then we'll be done with that commitment on that. But Lincoln's got a brand new coach. That opening game of the year, it's always going to be interesting. I mean, she did coach them last year, and there will be a little bit of film, but they've got brand new players. And I mean, I'm sure anybody who coached against us my first year and then coached against us in game 1 of the second year was like, okay, this doesn't look anything like it looked the year before, doing completely different things. So there's always that factor that we have no idea what to even expect when we get into that first game. I think they will have a better idea of what to expect from us than we will have an idea of what to expect from them. So we expect that to be a good test in their gym. And then we play Upper Iowa after that, and it will be very similar. Now he's been there for a little bit, but they've got 4 or 5 new names on the roster, and we assume there'll be some of the things the same, but there's going to be a little bit differently. They're going to play a little bit differently with different personnel. So those 2 games will be a good first test, and then I didn't even realize it when I did it, but I scheduled the first 4 on the road. So then we go to we go to Rogers State and also make up a game. We should have been at Rogers State last year, but then all non-conference games were canceled. So we had to push that game to this year. So we'll go up to Rogers State, which would be good. We've got quite a few players on our roster from Oklahoma, and so one in particular from Tulsa, and that'll give her family an opportunity to see her play, do some things like that. Rogers State's always tough. They're in the MIAA. I know when people see their overall record sometimes, but they don't understand just how tough and talented the MIAA is. And there's teams in that conference that can be around 500 that are very, very good teams. It's just that tough of a conference. And then UT Tyler will continue the trend of a brand new head coach. Hopefully they will have played 2 or 3 games that we'll be able to see on film, but it will be a brand new head coach with brand new players. And so we're going to face that a good bit, I think, in the early going of not really knowing what to expect, not have, when you don't have many games before you play them, there's not that much film. And then on top of that, you've got the fact that you can't even really watch that many games from the previous year to really find out what's there. So the positive thing with us is with what we do, we're not overly worried about what anybody else is doing anyway. So that helps us out a little bit. But I think not only will we be facing tough teams, we'll be facing a lot of unknowns in those early games.
Well, I understand. Well, Coach, I know that people may think that they're facing some knowns when they face you, when they look at the roster, but it sounds to me like there have been improvement from last season to this season. So we look forward to seeing that as it translates onto the court. The Mule Riders picked 10th in the preseason coaches poll here in the GAC. Coach Adam Collins, thank you so much for sharing with us about your team. I got a great view of your team, and we look forward to seeing you play this year. Thanks for taking time with us here as we count down to tip-off.
I appreciate your time, Joey. Thank you.